The night was very cold, and the wind moved like a silent hunter through the empty streets. Snow was falling slowly, covering everything in white, and the city lights looked weak under the storm. In a dark corner behind a broken wall, a small alien child was hiding. She was very thin, and her body was shaking badly from the cold. Her skin had a soft blue glow, but tonight it looked pale and weak. She pulled her knees close to her chest and tried to stay warm, but it was not enough. Her small hands were frozen, and her breathing was slow and uneven. Every breath felt like pain. "Mama, I'm cold," she whispered softly, but there was no answer. There was never an answer anymore. The streets were not safe for someone like her. Humans ruled the city now, and alien children were treated like nothing. Many were taken away, and many never came back. She had learned to stay quiet. She had learned to hide. But tonight, the cold was stronger than her fear. Not far from her, heavy boots walked on the snow. A group of human guards was moving through the street, checking every corner. Their lights cut through the darkness, searching for anyone hiding. The little girl saw them and quickly covered her mouth, trying not to make a sound. Her heart was beating fast, louder than the wind in her ears. One of the guards stopped. He looked around slowly, as if he felt something. His light moved closer to her hiding place. The girl closed her eyes. She thought this was the end. But then, the guard turned away. He said nothing and continued walking with the others. The group moved further down the street, their voices fading into the storm. The girl slowly opened her eyes again. Tears were now falling from her face, mixing with the snow. "I don't want to disappear," she whispered. Her body became weaker. She tried to stay awake, but the cold was pulling her down. Her head slowly dropped, and her eyes started to close. Minutes passed. The storm grew stronger. The world around her became quiet and distant. Then, suddenly the sound of boots returned. The same guard had come back. He was alone now, standing in the snow, looking toward the place where she was hiding. He did not move at first. He just stood there, as if fighting with his own thoughts. The girl saw his shadow and became afraid again. She tried to move, but her body was too weak. "Please, don't hurt me," she said with a broken voice. The guard froze. He did not expect her to speak. For a moment, everything was still. Only the wind was moving. The guard slowly stepped closer. His face was serious, but his eyes were not cold. Like the others, he looked at the small child, at her shaking body, at her frozen hands, at the fear in her eyes. Something inside him changed. He took a deep breath, then slowly removed his heavy jacket. The girl watched him, confused and scared. She thought maybe this was a trick. The guard bent down carefully, not too fast, not too close, and then he gently placed the jacket around her shoulders. The warmth hit her body like a soft light. Her eyes opened wide in surprise. She looked up at him, not understanding what was happening. The guard said nothing, but his hands moved carefully, making sure she was covered. For the first time in a long time, the cold started to go away. The girl's lips trembled. "Why?" she asked softly. The guard did not answer. He only looked around quickly, because far away, the sound of other guards was coming back, and this time, they were coming closer. The sound of boots grew louder in the cold night. The wind carried voices through the empty street, and the light from the patrol began to shine closer. The human guard looked up quickly, his face turning serious again. He knew he had no time left. The little alien girl held the jacket tightly around her small body. The warmth was new, and it felt like something she had almost forgotten. But fear was still stronger inside her. "They are coming," she whispered, her voice shaking. The guard nodded slowly. His eyes moved across the street, searching for a place to hide her. "Stay quiet," he said in a low voice. The girl froze. She was not used to humans speaking softly. Most of them only shouted or gave orders. The guard quickly looked behind the broken wall and found a small dark space. It was narrow and covered with snow and metal pieces. He gently guided her toward it. Go there, don't move, he said. The girl hesitated. For a moment. But something in his voice felt different, not angry, not cruel. She slowly moved into the hiding place and pulled the jacket closer. Her eyes stayed on him, watching every movement. The guard stepped back and stood in front of the wall, blocking the view. His heart was beating fast now. The patrol arrived seconds later. 3 guards walked into the street, their lights scanning everything. One of them looked at the human guard. "Why are you here alone?" The patrol leader asked. The guard stayed calm. "Just checking this side, nothing here," he replied. The patrol leader did not look convinced. His eyes moved slowly around the area. "Orders are clear. No one hides in this sector," he said. The guard nodded. "Yes, I know." The silence became heavy, the wind blew harder, and the snow moved around their feet. Behind the wall, the little girl covered her mouth again. She was trying not to breathe too loudly. Her body was still shaking. One small sound, and everything would end. The patrol leader took a step forward. His light moved closer to the wall. The human guard felt the pressure rising. His hands tightened slowly. "There is nothing here," he said again, a little stronger this time. Other guards looked at him. Something in his voice made them pause for a long moment. No one moved. Then finally the patrol leader turned away. "Fine, move to the next street," he said. The guards walked away slowly, their lights fading again. Into the storm, the human guard stayed still. He waited and waited until the voices were completely gone. Only then did he breathe out deeply. He turned back toward the wall and stepped closer. "It's safe now," he said quietly. The girl did not come out at first. She was still afraid, still unsure. "Please, don't leave me," she whispered from the darkness. The guard paused. Those words hit him harder than he expected. Slowly, she moved out of the hiding place. Her small face looked tired and weak, but her eyes were full of fear. She looked at him like she was waiting for something bad to happen. "I won't hurt you," the guard said. The girl shook her head slightly. "That's what they all say." The guard had no answer to that, because deep inside, he knew she was right. For a moment, they both stood in silence. Then the guard noticed something. Marks on her wrist, dark and painful. His expression changed. "What happened to you?" he asked. The girl quickly pulled her hand back, hiding it under the jacket. "Nothing," she said, but it was not nothing. The guard looked away for a second. His jaw tightened. He was part of the system, part of the same people who caused this, and now he was breaking the rules. Helping her was dangerous. If anyone found out, he would lose everything. Maybe worse. He looked back at the girl. She was barely standing, cold, hungry, alone, and still afraid of him. The guard took a slow breath. Then he made a choice. "Come with me," he said quietly. The girl's eyes widened. "Where?" "Somewhere safe," he answered. She did not move. Trust was not easy for her. The wind grew stronger again, and the cold returned quickly. She looked at the dark, empty street, then back at him. There was nothing else left for her. Slowly, she took one small step toward the human, and in that moment, everything changed, but far away, hidden in the shadows. Someone was watching them. The wind howled louder as the night grew darker. Snow moved across the empty street like white smoke. The human guard walked slowly, and the little alien girl followed close behind him. She stayed very near, almost holding his arm but not touching. Her eyes kept looking around, afraid that danger could come from anywhere. "Stay behind me," the guard said softly. She nodded. Her small feet struggled in the deep snow, and every step looked heavy. The guard noticed this and slowed down. He did not say anything, but he made sure she could keep up. They moved through narrow streets and broken paths. Most places were empty, but the fear never left them. Somewhere far behind, a shadow followed them, quiet, careful, and watching every move. The girl suddenly stopped. Her body became still. Guard turned. "What is it?" he asked. She looked scared. "I feel someone is there," she whispered. The guard looked back into the darkness. At first, he saw nothing, only the falling snow and the empty road. But something did not feel right. "Keep moving," he said, a little more serious now. They walked faster. The girl stayed closer than before. After a few moments, they reached an old building. It looked broken and forgotten. With half of the walls damaged, the guard pushed the door slowly. It made a low sound as it opened. "Inside," he said. The girl quickly went in. The guard followed and closed the door behind them. Inside, it was dark but quieter. The wind was weaker here. The girl sat down in a corner, still wrapped in the jacket. Her breathing was heavy, but she looked a little safer. The guard stood near the door, listening. Carefully, seconds passed, then a minute. No sound from outside, but still. Something felt wrong. The girl looked at him. "You are scared too," she said softly. The guard did not answer at first. Then he said, "Yes, but not for myself." The girl did not understand fully, but she stayed quiet. After a moment, she spoke again. "My brother." The guard looked at her. "What about him?" Her eyes filled with tears. "He is still out there, alone." The guard's face became serious. "Where?" "I don't know," she said, shaking her head. "We ran, they took my mother, and we got separated." Her voice broke. "He is smaller than me. He cannot survive alone." The guard looked down, thinking, helping one child was already dangerous, but finding another, that was even worse. Before he could speak, a sudden sound came from outside. Footsteps, slow, careful, getting closer. The guard quickly turned off his small light. The room became completely dark. "Don't move," he whispered. The girl froze. Her hands tightened around the jacket. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Both of them held their breath. A shadow passed under the broken part of the door. Someone was there. The door handle moved slightly. The girl's eyes filled with fear. She looked at the guard. The guard slowly reached for his weapon, but he did not raise it yet. The door opened just a little. Cold air rushed inside for a second. No one moved. Then suddenly, the guard stepped forward and pushed the door wide open. "Who's there?" he said loudly. But there was no one, only the empty street and the falling snow. The guard stepped outside and looked around quickly. Nothing, no sound, no shadow. But the feeling was still there. Someone had been watching them. He closed the door again and locked it. The girl was shaking more now. "They found us?" she whispered. The guard shook his head. "Not yet." But even he was not sure anymore. He walked back toward her. "We can't stay here long," he said. The girl looked up at him. "Will you help my brother?" The question stayed in the air. The guard looked into her eyes, full of fear, but also hope. He knew this choice would change everything. Outside, the storm grew stronger, and somewhere in the dark, the watcher had not gone far. The broken building was silent again, but the fear did not leave. The wind scratched the walls outside, and the sound felt like a warning. The little alien girl sat on the cold floor, wrapped in the human's jacket. Her small body was still shaking, but now it was not only from the cold. The human guard stood near her, his mind full of thoughts. He knew they could not stay long, and he knew the danger was growing. The girl looked up at him slowly. Her eyes were tired, but they were asking something important. "You said it is not safe," she whispered. The guard nodded. "It is not." She looked down at her hands. Then she spoke again, her voice soft and broken. "I need to tell you something." The guard stayed quiet, listening. The girl took a deep breath. "My name is Lyra." The guard paused for a moment. Then he said, "I am Armin." It felt strange for both of them. Names were not something they expected to share. Lyra looked at him again. "My family. We were hiding before," she said. Her voice started to shake again. "They came at night. Loud, fast." Armin's face became serious. He had seen those raids before. "They broke our door. They took my mother," Lyra said. "She tried to protect us, but they hit her." Her eyes filled with tears. I was holding my brother's hand. We ran. Armin did not interrupt. He let her speak. We ran through the back. Into the dark streets, she continued. He was crying. I told him to be quiet. Her voice became softer, but then we heard them behind us. She closed her eyes, remembering. I told him to hide. I said I will come back. A tear rolled down her face, but I could not find him again. The room became heavy with silence. Armin looked away for a moment. His jaw tightened. He had followed orders like those before. He had walked through doors, taken people away, and never thought about what happened after now. He was hearing the truth from someone who survived it. Lyra looked at him again. He is small. He gets scared in the dark, she said. Her voice was full of pain. He thinks I left him. Armin shook his head slowly. No. You tried to save him. Lyra did not respond, but her eyes showed she was not sure. The wind outside grew louder again. The storm was not stopping. Armin looked toward the door, then back at Lyra. We need to move soon, he said. Lyra quickly looked up. Will you help me find him? The question came again, stronger this time. Armin stayed silent. This was the moment. Helping her meant breaking every rule. If they were caught, it would not just be punishment. It could be death. He thought about his life, his duty, his orders then. He looked at Lyra, a small child, alone, hurt, still hoping. Armin took a slow breath. I will help you, he said. Lyra's eyes widened. Really? He nodded. Yes. We will find him. For the first time, a small light appeared in her face, hope, but it did not last long. A sudden noise came from outside again, not footsteps this time, but something heavier, a vehicle. Armin moved quickly to the door and looked through a small crack. His face changed immediately. What is it? Lyra asked, her voice shaking again. Armin stepped back slowly. They are searching this area now, he said. More lights appeared outside, brighter, stronger. Voices echoed through the street. Check every building, someone shouted. Lyra's body froze. They found us, she whispered. Armin shook his head. Not yet. But they are close. He looked around the broken room, searching for a way out. There's a back exit, he said. Lyra stood up quickly, holding the jacket tight. Her legs were still weak, but she forced herself to move. Armin moved toward the back of the building, pushing aside broken wood and metal. A small opening appeared, leading into a narrow alley. Cold air rushed in again. Stay close to me, he said. Lyra nodded. Just as they were about to leave, a loud noise came from the front door. Bang! The soldiers had reached the building. Open it, a voice shouted. Lyra looked at Armin with fear in her eyes. Armin did not wait. Go now, he said. They slipped into the dark alley. Behind them, the door broke open, and the hunt had truly begun. The cold alley was dark and narrow. Snow had not reached inside, but the air was still freezing. Armin moved quickly, and Lyra followed as fast as she could. Her small feet made almost no sound, but her breathing was heavy. Behind them, the voices of soldiers filled the broken building. They went this way, someone shouted. Lyra's heart started racing again. They are coming, she whispered. Armin did not stop. We keep moving, he said. They turned into another path, then another. The city felt like a maze, full of shadows and danger. Lyra looked around, trying to remember something. My brother. We were near a place with lights and noise, she said. Armin looked at her. What kind of place? She tried to think. There were cages and many people. Armin's expression changed. He knew that place, a holding area where captured aliens were kept before being taken away. His jaw tightened. If he is there, we don't have much time. They moved faster now. The streets became wider, but also more dangerous. Lights from tall poles lit the area, and patrols moved in groups. Armin stopped behind a broken vehicle and pulled Lyra down with him. Stay low, he said. A group of guards passed in front of them. Their lights moving across the ground, Lyra held her breath, her hands shaking again. After the guards moved away, Armin looked at her. "Can you walk more?" he asked. She nodded quickly. "I have to." They continued moving. Careful, quiet. After some time, they reached the edge of a large open area. Lyra's eyes widened. This is the place," she said. In front of them stood a fenced zone. Bright lights, metal cages, and guards everywhere. Inside the cages, many alien figures could be seen, some sitting, some lying down. The sight was painful. Lyra's body froze. "He is in there," she whispered. Armin looked at the area carefully. There were too many guards. Going in directly was impossible. "We need another way," he said. Lyra looked at him, fear growing again. What if he is hurt? Armin did not answer, but he knew. She was right. They moved along the edge of the fence, staying in the shadows. After a few minutes, Armin found a weak point, a part of the fence that was damaged. "This might work," he said quietly. He looked around, making sure no one was watching then. He carefully bent the metal enough to create a small gap. "Go in," he told Lyra. She hesitated for a second. Then she slipped through the opening. Armin followed right after. Now they were inside. The noise was louder here, soft cries, weak voices. Lyra looked around quickly, her eyes searching every corner. "Brother," she whispered. They moved between the cages, trying not to be seen. Then suddenly, a very weak voice came from one side. "Lyra." She froze, her eyes turned quickly. In a small cage, behind metal bars, a tiny figure moved. It was him. Her little brother. He looked worse then. She remembered, thin, weak, and barely able to stand. "Lyra," he said again, his voice breaking. Tears filled her eyes. She ran toward the cage. "I'm here. I came back," she said. The small boy reached toward her. "I thought you left me." Lyra shook her head quickly. "No. Never." Armin stepped closer. He looked at the lock on the cage. It was strong, but not impossible. He took out a small tool and started working on it. "Hurry," Lyra whispered. Armin focused, his hands moving fast. Then, click, the lock opened. The door slowly moved. Lyra rushed inside and held her brother tightly. "I'm here now," she said. The boy held her, weak but relieved. But the moment did not last long. A loud voice suddenly echoed behind them. "Hey! Stop right there!" Armin turned quickly. Two guards were running toward them. Their lights were already on them. Lyra looked up in fear. "They found us." Armin stepped forward, standing between the guards and the children. "Stay behind me," he said. The guards raised their weapons, and in that moment, there was no more hiding left. "Hey, stop right there!" The guards shouted again. The bright lights hit their faces, and there was no place left to hide. Lyra held her little brother tightly, her body shaking with fear. Her brother could barely stand, and he leaned on her for support. Armin stepped forward, placing himself between the children and the guards. His face was calm, but his heart was racing fast. "Stay behind me," he said again, low and firm. The two guards moved closer, their weapons raised. "What are you doing?" one of them asked. Armin did not answer. He knew there was no explanation that could save them now. "Step away from them," the second guard ordered. For a moment, everything felt frozen. The cold air, the lights, the silence before something breaks. Then suddenly, Armin moved. He grabbed a metal rod lying near the cage and threw it hard toward the lights. Clang! The lights flickered for a second, and the guards reacted. "Run!" Armin shouted. Lyra did not wait. She pulled her brother and started moving as fast as she could. Armin rushed behind them, blocking the guards for a second longer. A loud alarm started ringing. Red lights began flashing across the area. "Intruder alert!" A voice echoed everywhere. More guards started moving. Footsteps came from every direction. Armin caught up with Lyra and her brother. "This way," he said. They ran between the cages, dodging lights, turning corners. Lyra's brother was slowing Down, his steps were weak. I can't, he whispered. Lyra looked at him, panic in her eyes. You have to. Please, she said. Armin quickly picked the boy up, carrying him in his arms. Hold on, he said. The boy held onto him weakly, behind them. Guards were getting closer, their voices louder, their lights stronger. There they are. Someone shouted. Armin ran faster, his breath becoming heavy. They reached the damaged fence again. Go through, he told Lyra. She slipped out quickly. Armin carefully passed the boy through the gap, then followed right after. They were out. But not safe. Guards were already moving around the outside, blocking paths, searching everywhere. Armin looked around quickly, his mind racing for a way out. This way, he said again. They ran into a dark street, then turned into another narrow alley. The sound of boots followed them, closer, faster. Suddenly, a shot was fired. The sound echoed loudly. Lyra stopped for a second, scared, but Armin pushed forward. Don't stop, he said. They kept running. Another shot rang out, this time. Armin felt it. A sharp pain hit his side. His body moved slightly, but he did not fall. Lyra noticed. You're hurt, she said. I'm fine, he replied quickly, but he was not. Still, he kept moving, carrying the boy, protecting them both. They reached an old tunnel entrance, hidden behind broken walls. Armin stopped, breathing hard. Inside, he said. Lyra helped her brother as they entered the tunnel. It was dark and cold, but safe from the lights. Armin followed, then moved a piece of metal to block the entrance. The sounds of guards passed above them, but none came inside, for now. They were hidden. Lyra turned toward Armin, her eyes full of worry. You are bleeding, she said softly. Armin looked down. Dark blood was spreading across his side. It's nothing, he said again, but his voice was weaker now. He slowly sat down against the wall. The boy looked at him, scared. You saved us, he whispered. Lyra moved closer, her hands shaking. Why are you helping us? She asked. Armin looked at them both. For a moment, he said nothing. Then finally he spoke. Because someone should have done it before. His breathing became slower. The tunnel was silent again. Lyra held her brother close, but her eyes stayed on Armin. Fear was growing again, because now, the one who saved them was the one who might not survive. The tunnel was quiet. Only the soft sound of breathing could be heard in the darkness. Lyra sat close to her brother, holding him tightly, but her eyes never left Armin. He was leaning against the cold wall, his face pale, his breathing slow and uneven. The blood on his side had spread more, and every breath looked harder than the last. Armin, Lyra said softly. He opened his eyes slowly. He looked at her, then at her brother. You're safe now, he said in a weak voice. Lyra shook her head quickly. No, you are not safe. Her voice was breaking again. The little boy moved closer too. His small hand touched Armin's arm. Please, don't go, he whispered. Armin gave a small, tired smile. I'm not going anywhere, he said. But even he knew that was not true. Lyra looked around the tunnel, her mind racing. There must be something to help you, she said. She stood up quickly and started searching, looking through broken boxes, old metal, anything she could find. Her brother watched quietly. Still weak, after a moment, Lyra found a piece of cloth. It was dirty, but it was something. She ran back to Armin. I can stop the blood, she said. Armin tried to speak, but she did not wait. She carefully pressed the cloth against his wound, her hands shaking. Stay with me, please, she whispered. Armin closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. You are strong, he said softly. Lyra shook her head. No, I was scared all the time. Armin looked at her. And you still kept going. She did not answer, but tears filled her eyes again. I thought I lost everything, she said. My home, my mother, my brother. She looked at her brother and held his hand. But you helped me find him again. The little boy looked up at Armin. You saved us, he said quietly. Armin looked at both of them. For the first time his face looked peaceful. "No," he said slowly. "You saved each other." The tunnel became silent again. Far above, the sounds of the city continued, but down here, it felt like another world. Lyra looked at Armin again, fear still in her heart. "Will they find us?" she asked. Armin thought for a moment. "They will search. But not here for long," he said. He pointed weakly toward the deeper part of the tunnel. "There's a path. It leads outside the city." Lyra followed his direction with her eyes. "If you keep going, you will be free," he said. Lyra's heart tightened. "What about you?" she asked. Armin did not answer right away. Then he said softly, "My path ends here." Lyra shook her head again. "No. You can come with us." Armin smiled a little. "If I move now, I will slow you down." "That does not matter," she said quickly. "It does," he replied. The truth was heavy, and they both knew it. Lyra's brother held her hand tighter. "We can't leave him," he said. Lyra looked between them, her heart breaking. Armin slowly reached out his hand. He placed it gently on Lyra's head. "You are not alone anymore," he said. His voice was soft, but strong in meaning. "Take care of him," he added. Looking at her brother, Lyra could not stop her tears now. "You are family," she said. The word stayed in the air. Armin's eyes softened. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to say something more. But instead, he just smiled, a quiet, peaceful smile. Lyra held his hand for a second, then slowly let it go. She stood up, helping her brother. They both looked at Armin one last time. "Thank you," Lyra whispered. Then they turned and walked into the deeper tunnel, step by step into the unknown. But this time, not alone. Behind them, Armin closed his eyes. The cold no longer touched him, and for the first time in a long time, the city felt a little less dark.